when you come out the booth and start hearing blood. Everybody share love the sound. That's why they give you hundreds of pounds. Now you know you can spit this. You got the whole world vibing the same. You ain't doing it to rock and change. You got love for the game.
Welcome to Love of the Game. I'm your host, SJ. And for our NBL1 East show, I've got a special guest from the Bankstown Bruins, Shareef Sapaia. How you doing today?
Yeah, I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, good. Thank you for joining the show.
No
Now, before we start the show, I'd like to thank our major sponsor, Precise Accounting Group, for a dream teammate that'll help you get bang for your buck during this tax season. Give the boys from Precise Accounting a call. They also help big and small businesses with bookkeeping and payroll needs. So whatever you need, give the team at Precise a call. Now, Shareef, big weekend for you boys. 2 wins to kind of solidify your spot in the top 8.
Yeah.
How are the boys feeling?
No, we feel good, man. I think we had a tough weekend before this with Albury. We didn't like the way we played, like just energy-wise and everything. We all had a talk, and we said that we wanted to really come out and play with a chip on our shoulders, like more than ever, because like we felt like we were just too relaxed out there, you know, because we obviously got talent, so we were like I felt like we went out there like, oh, we can win off talent, but we adjusted and, you know, we played really good. Obviously, there's room for improvements. We'll go through it and film on Tuesday. But yeah, no, I'm happy with the team, bro. I'm happy with the boys, proud of them.
Yeah, so the last 4 games, you've got 3 wins out of 4. Aubrey was the loss during that run.
Yeah.
I want to talk to you about some of your teammates, man. You got a good crew down there at Bankstown. You got yourself, Naaman Hightower, Andre Wolford, Hayden Blakely, Charlie Macbeth. How good is this group, and what's the potential in the NBL1 East 2024 for you guys?
Man, it's pretty insane. Like when you think about the star power we have, like just the pure like ability to go off. There's like 4 of us that can really like just go off for 30 any game, and like you can see it. Like I had a game with Newcastle, Dre had a game against Comets. You know, Hayden is due for one. Jack is coming off the bench with me, and like it's just crazy. Even Naaman, like Nate, he's Hightower. He's solid down in the post. He's really good. So, and then even just the young boys, like, you know, they're just doing their role and they're playing really well. But yeah, like it's just like I said, man, it's pretty cool the star power we have, and we're just trying to figure shit out. Trying to figure everything out, like especially defensively. I think Curtis, our coach, he's really big on defense, and that's one thing we've been trying to embrace. And I think we've done a pretty good job in that, you know, except for the game against Aubrey. We just man, I don't want to talk about it.
And that's one thing that I want to ask you guys. So for you guys, who are the top teams in the league? Because I know there's like Maitland, there's Canberra, and also Aubrey. Aubrey's pretty big up there. Who are the sort of the peak teams that you guys kind of look to match up with?
Yeah, like obviously the teams you just mentioned, like Canberra, Maitland, always strong. They've been together for years, those 2 teams, so they're very good. Obviously, Aubrey has that star power as well, where they have like what they've earned that, so they're pretty tough. Inner West, obviously, Inner West is pretty insane, and like if they figure their stuff out, they're going to be a very scary team, so they'll be pretty good. There's obviously other teams like Newcastle's pretty solid. We just had a good game against them. There's heaps of teams in the league. Like it's all about matchups. Manly's pretty good. So like this year is more about how you match up with a team rather than just pure like, oh, we're better than you. You know what I mean? Because some teams will just match up better with others. And we saw that on the weekend when like Inner West struggled on 2 games. They lost on the weekend. Like you wouldn't think they'd lose to them, but they just came out stronger. You know what I mean? Other teams, it just shows you have to play hard every weekend. So yeah, those teams that you mentioned plus Inner West and Manly, they're pretty good, man. And we see ourselves with them. We don't see like us far away from them. We think we can compare with all of them. So it was good.
Yeah, you make a great point there about the matchup, because I did a post-game interview with William Cranston-Lown yesterday.
Yeah.
And he said, man, look, we were just banging in low. We gave the ball to James Hunter because we kind of figured that Inner West Bulls don't really have a centre.
Yeah.
So, yeah, exactly your point with the matchups. Now, I want to ask, man, I saw you after your game, your 3 o'clock game. You actually rocked up down to Auburn to watch the Maitland and Inner West Bulls. What was that? Was that a bit of scouting, or were you there to supporting any of the boys?
I mean, I grew up with, Vili Army in Inner West, and Tony and all those boys. They're like really close for me. Like I look up to them. Like they're boys that when I came back to basketball after a year off, they helped me heaps. Especially them being Polynesian in the scene as well. Like, you know, like that was the boys that like were older, and I had to say, oh look, they're the ones that I have to go chase. So yeah, like I'm close with a lot of the inner west boys. I grew up with a lot of them, and obviously just I love basketball, bro. So I love going to watch, and I think it's a lot different when you're there in person rather than watching it on your phone because you get to see everything like properly. You know what I mean? Which is pretty cool. So, yeah.
And that's one thing I want to ask you too, the talent. Like you've been in the NBL now for about 3 years.
Mm.
How has the talent gone from your first year to where it is now?
Oh, it's definitely increased. Like even just the players in general, like the ones that have been from there from the start, like everyone's gotten better. Everyone's slowly figuring their game out, and then you also got the more imports this year, which is pretty cool, you know. And then you got Davo and Wiley and those NBL boys like coming in, which is like mad for the league. And then you know, like it's the young boys coming in too. Like, like I always say, this these young boys they don't care, bro. Like they've got no fee for some reason. It's really like you know when we were younger, we were like coming in and we had like respect and we are like, oh, we're like,
Yeah.
you know. But these boys they don't give a shit. It's like crazy. I love it. Even the boys on our team, I told them, it's like just use your youth, man. Just be dumb out there and just go hard.
Nah, beautiful. And look, another key point that I want to kind of bring up was, you talked about kind of looking up to those boys in Inner West Bulls. Your background, a bit of a Lebanese and Samoan background. Got to ask you, I'm growing up in a big sort of family. How was it?
Yeah, no, it was good. Like I think my mum and dad did a good job of keeping us grounded, which was pretty cool. She kept us out of trouble. It's easy, you know, when you have all your cousins and that, you just running amok, like just being stupid when you're young. But yeah, like I have good parents and good like family household here, so they kept us out of trouble and kept us focused on what we wanted to do, you know. And obviously basketball was just like I went from soccer to basketball, and like basketball just was my thing, so I loved it. So it was easy to just stay focused on it and enjoy the process.
So look, I got to be real with you. You're a pretty big boy. You got all the skills, you got the handles, you got the passing, you got the shooting. Rugby league was never an option.
Bro, it was, you know, from after, so when I was quitting soccer and when I was supposed to play league, I was actually going to go play league in Union, but my mum didn't want me to, the Lebo side. So it was like, you're going to get hurt, this and that. So it was my middle brother, Ibrahim, who started playing ball, and I just went to play hoops with him. It was in MacArthur, their old team. And yeah, just I don't know, like I went and played, and they just put me in a rep team. I was like, and I don't know at that age, I'm just like, oh whatever, I'm playing, and you just slowly fall in love with it. You know what I mean? You just start enjoying the game a bit more, playing for the boys and that.
So I got to ask you, your love for basketball and the love of the game. How did it start, and kind of what does basketball mean to you?
How I started, man, honestly, and this is like I say this to everyone, like it started through street ball. Like I love street ball. That's how I didn't play basketball properly until then. Like that was street ball was my thing. Like I loved street ball. I grew up at Collymore, Liverpool. That was the one court I just played at every night. That was just, and you know what was good about it was that back then there was like hoopers there. I'm talking about like there was like ex pros and just all these boys that played ABA back in the day. And you just would, I was young, so I was coming up, and then like they were kicking my ass. I was going home like bleeding from the mouth and shit. Like it was this hectic, it was this proper street ball, and it was mad. So then that made me fall in love with it because watching all these boys like kick my ass and that, like I had a hit list, I wanted to beat every single one of them. You know what I mean? So it was pretty cool. So yeah, that's how I fell in love with it, man. And then yeah, from there it just took off.
Because you were kind of my introduction to the NBL1 East. Because yeah, as you mentioned, Collymore.
Yeah.
I used to rock up in Collymore. Kind of just for a little stress release with the boys, just to play some hoops. And you and your boys were always there.
Yeah.
And you see you rock up in slides. And then there was some times where we were lucky enough because, as you said, there was a lot of pure hoopers over there.
Yeah.
And you kind of just see the atmosphere. Everyone's sort of talking shit. There's kind of changeovers, winner stays on and things like that. And sometimes we kind of got lucky and got a game. And I kind of got to see your game firsthand. And that's one thing that I wanted to ask you. What part of street ball did you kind of implement into your game to go play in professional sort of environment? Because it's completely different.
Yeah.
So
it
what
is
was kind of the keys that you brought along with you?
Yeah, you're right. It is completely different. Like street ball is so different to like proper like basketball 5-on-5. But I think the biggest thing I got from street ball that I take to the game is like just the feel of the game. Because when you're playing street ball, like, I always say this to people, like you're gonna get fouled, you're gonna get like whacked, and you really have to shake someone, and like you can't like shake someone and only a little bit and then try and get past him because he's gonna be on your hip and he's gonna just push the shit out of you. And you're not gonna call foul street ball, like you never do that. But like that's what taught me heaps is like just getting shifty and just making people get out of my way to get to a shot and just the feel of the game, because you have to be so quick thinking in street ball because it's not, you know what I mean? Like you got like 4 guys running at you, you have to think what the hell's happening. So yeah, that helped heaps. So the biggest thing was just the feel for the game. I always tell the younger ones, like, play street ball because that will help you for feel.
And one thing about street ball, because I play a lot of sort of like street ball myself, and the thing that I find the most enjoyable is you kind of get different teammates every time, and you got to get a feel for the game. You got to be like, look, you know what, this is his strengths.
Yeah.
Get everyone involved and things like that. And that's what I kind of saw from you. You kind of never looked to really score until the game was on the line, and then bang, you just got to like do your thing, do your little fadeaways, do your little layups, and yeah, so. My key point is in your team currently, do you guys kind of have that same feel? Because I know you were talking about, you know what, one day it's his day, one day it's my day. Do you kind of have that sort of same attitude where you guys don't really care about who scores? It's just get the W at the end of the day?
Yeah, like obviously it's been a big adjustment for some of us boys, like especially me and Hayden coming from last year. Like we had a bigger load and were like doing a lot more than what we're doing this year. But that's also just partially too, like this year we have like I said, like we have the star power where four or five boys can go for 30 whenever, and it just takes one quarter. You know what I mean? Like literally, and that's the cool thing about it. So we've had like actual conversations like after trainings, and we sat down like me, Dre, Hayden, and we were like, if you're hot, like what plays do you want to go to, and what plays do you want to see the ball? You know what I mean? Because it's best that we see it. So then when we know he's hot, like I know I'll go to this play for Dre, or I'll go to this play for Hayden, or for me they'll just go to an ISO in this situation. So it's pretty cool. Like it's a big adjustment, just but it's like what can I say? It's a good thing. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Because I was watching your game footage when I saw you pop off for 30. You kind of had the same thing in the last game with Dre. I think he only had 5 points, kind of like late into the second quarter, and then he just started popping off. And there were a few plays where you kind of passed it before he even got to the position, and as soon as he caught it, just catch and shoot, and cash money.
And that's comes from the talk. Like I knew what plays he wanted, I knew where he wanted the ball, and that was just because we talked about it. And it was just like I said, I saw him make a few, and I was like, oh yes, sweet, that's it. We're just going to find the hot hand right now until he gets cold, and then we'll adjust more. Yeah.
Now, growing up in sort of the Liverpool Bankstown area, you got to play for the Bankstown Bruins in the first NBL1 East. How was it kind of getting signed and playing for your local team?
It was mad, especially like just I think it was a big thing for the local boys as well, like just from the area, like from Collie, and like because obviously we grew up in Collie, so like those boys, they were like it was like a big thing for all of us. You know what I mean? Like, oh look, like someone from here is doing a good thing, so it was cool. But yeah, it was just amazing. Like it's a good experience, and I always thought it like the boys, like if they were trying to take basketball serious, it's a good route, like going NBL1, you know, because you can just it's playing against men is a whole different thing, and you get to see and pick up like from the best players in the league when you're young. You get to see like what they do and how comfortable they are and the traits they have. So yeah, it was pretty cool, man. Like my first year, it was a big adjustment, and it was good for my game.
And you make a very, very interesting point there where it's like, you know what, it's kind of cool to see someone grow up from the area to actually play these competitions because it kind of makes it possible. And especially growing up in Western Sydney, like I think you might know yourself, like trouble's easy to find. You can literally find it around the corner. So I just want you to kind of give a message to if there's a local kid playing at Collymore, how he can get to that level and what's the keys to success to get there.
Man, honestly, it's just keeping your head down and just working. Like I promise you, my first party was in year 12. Like I didn't go out much. I didn't do much. But I enjoyed it. Like it was really cool for me. And like I said, you just keep your head down. You just work hard, and you just believe in your work because it's gonna show. You know what I mean? No matter how tough your times get, like if you keep on working and working and working, you're gonna eventually surpass some of the boys that are not working as hard. You know what I mean? So yeah, just keep your head down, work hard, bro, and just believe in yourself because belief is the biggest thing. If you don't believe in yourself on the court, everyone's going to see it and they're going to go at you even more, you know?
Yeah. And that's the key point is they believe in yourself because I know Western Sydney, I know basketball too, but there's a lot of great talented players that kind of play footy, like rugby league, union, basketball and things like that. They kind of lose their way a bit because they are the most talented, but they're not really there to work hard and believe in themselves. So yeah, you make a great point there. Now, fast forward, you ended up going to year 2. You played for Hornsby. Why the change from Bankstown to Hornsby?
I think the off season it was a big thing for me. Like Hesh, our head coach, he scouted me heavy. We talked a lot, just about everything, just role and the system and everything. And I felt comfortable with Hesh, you know, and like I don't regret that decision. It's done a lot for me, and I thanked him for everything because he did a lot for me. And I had a great season last year, and it was amazing. Like for me, my own personal development, understanding my game, It was really good. I loved it, and like I said, that was the biggest thing. Like he scouted me heavy, he made me feel like he wanted me more. You know what I mean? Like I obviously had some other teams ask, but yeah, talking to Hesh and sitting down with him, having the meetings and that, that I felt like it was the right decision to go there.
Now, in between that, you kind of got to represent your country,
Yeah,
Samoa, in the sort of Polynesian World Cup. What was that experience like?
it was amazing, man. You don't you feel like you know your culture until you go actually to the place. You know what I mean? Like when I went to Samoa for the training camp. Man, it was amazing. Like it was just cool because I got to see where my family grew up. My dad and that, and then it was just the whole culture is like a big shock because you go there and like kids are like hunting for food and like you just become a lot more grateful. Like you go there and you're like, oh, what the hell? So yeah, it was pretty cool. It was amazing, and I'm so grateful for that opportunity because like I got to see a lot of things, man. I got to travel to New Zealand as well to play ball for the tournament, so it was hectic. It was mad.
And you guys had a great tournament. What was your kind of biggest takeaways from playing overseas, I guess, in a way for that first time? What was that like?
Man, it was like obviously, and I said this to a lot of the boys, like the competition wasn't as high as here. Like our game is a lot more developed over here than it is in the Pacific Islands. But the amount of dog and heart they had just playing for their nation is like something you won't ever match. It's just you can't match that, especially playing for your nation. So it was pretty cool. Like that's one thing I took from that. It was just how hard they played, and I was getting tackled out there half the time. I swear, it was like might as well been rugby out there, but like it was hectic. Like my boy Billy, the one from the West, he played for Tonga, so it was a mad like experience because I got to go with someone that like when I first came back to basketball, he was like one of the first people I trained with, like on the court. So it was good for both of us to go there and go do the same thing. So it was pretty cool.
Now, I got to ask you, like you mentioned Vili, and I know after the game yesterday up against Maitland, you guys kind of got together. I think Tish, Baby Chol,
Yeah.
William Prancer now. Like, what is the brotherhood kind of like in the NBL1 East, and how much do you guys get pleasure from seeing the other boys succeed, sort of thing?
Man, it's love, lad. Like I mean, like always say, there's real hoopers, no real hoopers. You know what I mean? Like you can't hide. Like who's real about it and who's not. And obviously, us boys, we all respect each other and we all think each other. Like I rate all of them. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I got to watch them play, and that's why I wanted to go watch because they're all my boys, and I know that I thought it was gonna be a hectic game to watch, just skill wise and just seeing all the boys play hard. So yeah, man, like the community is pretty cool. Especially when you are in it for a bit and you know some of the boys. It's mad because especially in off season, you link up, you go scrimmages, and that, like honestly, I promise you, like the NBL1 is pretty cool, but the off season scrimmages is like insane. Like some of the shit that happens in off season scrimmages. So yeah.
So yeah, after that sort of Hornsby experience again, you got to go play for Bankstown. A bit of a homecoming.
Yeah.
What's that experience like this year, and how much do you kind of appreciate it? Because I do know a lot of sort of your boys would come watch the game and things like that, and playing in front of your family and friends, it hits a bit differently.
Yeah.
So how's that feeling like this year?
Man, it was like coming back was like it was a pretty cool thing. Like even in the off season when I announced that I was coming back, all the boys were like, what the hell? Like you're back in the area? Like yeah, I'm coming back. Like it was cool. Like it was just cool to be back home, and obviously I grew up in Bankstown, and yeah, I'm happy with the decision, and just put my head down and keep on working, man. That's it.
Now, I know growing up, you kind of had sort of those little college experiences where you could have actually went to college. What was that like? And as a young sort of up and coming baller, what's the kind of the keys to kind of succeeding to get to that level? Like, what do you need to do to stand out and things like that in the local leagues?
Man, it's luck as well. To be honest, like it's a lot of luck. Like it is that's just life. Like gotta be lucky. At the same time, like I said, you just gotta work hard. Like I worked hard. I went to Westwood Sports, so and like we had some good players there too. So like Dragon Elkes went there too. Like he went to Riverside. So yeah, it was pretty cool. But like I chose just to go over there and train instead because I wanted to stay home. So I went and trained with J Law, and yeah, that was an amazing experience for me just to go. I just didn't like the lifestyle there. I didn't like. I don't know. For me, it wasn't like I'm a big family orientated guy, and like I'm big in my friends here and the boys I have here. I'm very close with them, so I didn't want to lose that. So I decided to stay here, which was I think for me was the best decision.
And now moving forward, what's up and coming for Shareef? So let's say this NBL1 season finishes. what's your plans or what's your goals and what's the dreams for the next year or the next 2 years?
Man, I signed with Mohammed Labadidi. Like, I'm sorry if I said it wrong, but I signed with him. He's Dua Brief's agent in Lebanon. 24 seconds. They're they're really good, man. And we've got some stuff happening in Lebanon. Inshallah, like if the papers come through, I'll be going over there and playing pro over there. But if not, we've got other routes that we're going to take and we're going to look at. Even if it's one more year in NBL1, I don't mind because I get to stay home for one more year. But yeah, man, I'm looking at the overseas route because I've always wanted to travel the world and play ball. That's a dream for any kid around here. You know what I mean? Like you just get to travel the world, play ball, run amok a bit.
And that's the thing, man, because in a way, I kind of saw you growing up playing at Collymore, and now you're going to be playing professionally overseas and things like that.
Yeah.
I just want to ask you, how cool is it that you could actually play for Samoa and now probably play in Lebanon also as a local, if that makes sense?
Yeah.
That feeling like, and have you been there in the last few years?
Nah, man, it'll be my first time, which is insane. Like I've been brushing up on my Arabic a bit so I can talk over there as well. But yeah, like you said, it's amazing, bro. Because like you said, coming up from the area, like and playing, like literally just playing street ball, like 10 minutes down the road. Like when I got the text about everything and that, like you tear up because you're like you don't expect when you're just playing and you're just training hard, you get to the point where you just enjoy the process. You're not like thinking about the result anymore. You're just trying to get better and better because the biggest fear I have is going on the court and not being able to help or not being able to do something. You know what I mean? So you just enjoy the process, and then when you see the results slowly come without even like thinking about it, it's just like you just got to thank Allah. Alhamdulillah, I can't take anything away. Like He's given me everything. So,
100%. You made an interesting point when you said you create your own luck. You do have to get lucky, but you create your own luck. You putting your head down, kind of staying out of trouble, just keep balling. But one thing too that kind of always caught my eye was how much you actually enjoyed it. Just balling up and things like that, and with your teammates. So I want to ask, how important was Collymore actually for your game?
Oh man, I always say this, and everyone knows it. Everyone knows as well, like that is around me and that watches me play. Like street ball was everything for me. Like I took more pride in street ball than I did in like NBL1. Like I did for me, like if you came to the area like Liverpool and you try to play street ball over there, like I told all the boys growing up, we were just like everyone compete when we're here, everyone be dogs, and then, like and after if whatever happens after we're all boys at the end, and that's taught me a lot. What I mean? It taught my game. Help me like have a dog in me a little bit, you know what I mean? Like we're like, especially if I get my ass whooped, I'm not just gonna sit there and get my ass whooped. Like you're gonna have some dogs, especially on the street. You're not gonna take that shit. So it's pretty cool, man. It helped me heaps. And street ball, like I said, I tell every kid that ever asks me how to work on their game, just go play street ball sometimes because that will develop a lot of your feel and just everything else.
Now, the love of the game question of the day is Shareef. You got a phone call. You're playing for 50 grand, 5-on-5 at Collymore. Who are you calling down to be your team? Who's your dream team?
Okay, so I'm gonna go with my brother, my youngest brother, and me at point guard. I'm gonna put him at 1. I'm gonna put myself at the 2. I'm going to have MJ at the 3. I'm going to have Big Jonas at the 5, and then at the 4. The 4 is hard, man, because man, I'm just gonna take my boy Big Dylan. Dylan used to go there heaps, and he was just I don't know, man. He's a big boy, but you wouldn't expect him to hoop, but he can move and he can score. He scores at will, so it's pretty cool.
Now, is that team a lock to win the 50K?
Mate, I'm not losing 50K.
No, beautiful. And look, now we're gonna have a little quick NBA talk.
Yo.
Your team, the LA Lakers, they lost up against the Denver Nuggets, who just got bounced out by the Minnesota Timberwolves.
Yeah.
Now we've got the Minnesota Timberwolves up against the Dallas Mavericks. Who do you have coming out of that series?
Man, I love Ant. I do love Anthony Edwards, man. I've been rooting for him this whole time, but Kyrie Irving is my guy, and I love Luka too. Obviously, I try to base some of my game off Luka, so I love them and I rate them too so highly. So I hope Mavs come out because I think just the star power, the pure star power they have. But defensively, Minnesota is going to give them a lot of trouble. So it's going to be a fun game, a fun series. But I reckon Mavs might figure it out. You know what I mean? Especially with PJ on the wing too. So yeah, I think Mavs might figure that out.
Yeah, I think this game is you have the star powers of Luka, Kyrie, and you got Ant sort of come through towns, but it's going to be the sort of the role players like Jaden McDaniels, Derek Jones, and those guys, PJ Washington. So it's going to be a great, great series.
Yeah.
Now in the East, you got the Boston Celtics. Can they get it done up against the Indiana Pacers?
Right. They better. Like, against Indiana, they better beat. But I hate Celtics. I'm a Lakers boy, so I just don't even want to see them in these. But yeah, I reckon they'll make finals. I just hope whoever makes out the West beats them. Like, that's it. Stuff them. I don't want them to match us in the title race. Yeah.
Now, you made an interesting point there about Luka being a player that you kind of base your game around.
Yeah.
Now looking at, I kind of do see the similarities between in your game.
Yeah.
You guys have great footwork, and then if you do get kind of stuck out of trouble, you guys have great footwork. I want to know how important is your footwork to your game?
It's literally the fundamental of everything. Like, if like I know a lot of the stuff you see, like you might think it's all like handle stuff, but a lot of it is just me changing my feet, like making sure I've got a certain advantage on a certain move, and that all comes just from my foot placement. You know what I mean? So, like, yeah, watching him, watching Jalen Brunson, and then even watching the boys here. Like, I watched Markovic and watched some of the older boys who played pro. Just watching them, how comfortable they were, whether they were in trouble or not. Just through their footwork, they just controlled everything. You know, just so composed. So yeah, it's a massive part of my game.
Now, my last question is, look, for any up-and-coming players that kind of want to make it up to the NBL1 East and play professionally, how much work do you actually put into your game? Like, I know you sit there, you say you go to Collingwood, but how much extra time do you actually have to put into your game to kind of stand out and get to the extra level?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, like, obviously I'm not, like, the most athletic freak or the fittest guy on the court. I don't look like that. I never do. I love my food too much, but honestly, I'll tell you the truth. I train twice a day on the court and once in the gym, usually every single day, apart from a Sunday, and that's when I just get away from basketball. So like, I'm on the court even in the morning, and then I'll go to work and then hit the gym after, and then go team training, or just individual just getting shots up again. You know what I mean? And that's just, like I said, like in season, obviously it slows down a little bit more because obviously the games and everything. But like, if you're really trying to like be about it, and you gotta understand, like, boys are already there, are going to be training as hard as what you're doing. So you got to kind of either do more, or you got to be training smarter and just figuring out your game. So yeah, I'd be recommending just be on the court every single day, be in the gym, because it's a very big thing. You know, like, you got to be strong, because when you play against grown men, you're going to get pushed off your spots heaps. So you just got to figure it out, like get stronger in the gym and everything. So yeah, at least once a day on the court, at least.
Now, also, look, I saw something that was interesting. Like, I know you're kind of playing that 6-man role off the bench for the Bankstown Bruins.
Yeah.
Was that a role that was kind of assigned to you off the start? Like, you knew that was your role? Was that something that you had to adjust to?
It was in the air, like, during the start of the preseason. I understood that it might be coming off the bench. But I was just happy to. Like I said, it was a big adjustment. It is a big adjustment for me. You know what I mean? But, like, me and Curtis have been talking and just been trying to make things work, like, in a sense where it's like trying to make myself feel more comfortable at this so I can play better and help the team more. You know what I mean? Because, like I said, it clicked a bit more at Newcastle when I started feeling my shot a bit more, and just the last 2 games, like, understanding, like, okay, defensively I can set the tone and lead the team a bit there, and then, like, offensively, like, I can be a point guard off the ball as well, which is pretty cool. So I get the ball and I can be looking to create for others off, like, just beating my guy. You know what I mean? So yeah, we've just been figuring it out. It is a big adjustment. Like, even like not just myself, like Jack as well is coming off the bench, and he's not used to that. Like, so both of us, we've just been taking that and just trying to figure it out, coming off the bench and just being like ultra aggressive, you know, and helping the team.
And that's why I wanted to give you guys a bit of a shout out by saying, like, you've won 3 out of your last 4 games, is because having those adjustments is kind of hard for a player, especially when you're trying to kind of like stand out and do your thing. And then you being able to kind of go, you know what, I've accepted my role, it's what I'm going to do, but how do I kind of succeed in that role is also key in creating your own luck that you were talking about before. There's no point kind of like just putting your head down, just do the work, and then you'll kind of see the rewards later on. And that was really justified by your 31-point game up against Newcastle. Now, I've got to ask yourself, when do you know your game's on? Well, what's got to be going for you to go, you know what, I'm on today?
Man, you know what it is that, like, when I make that first, like, 3, and if it feels a certain way, like, I know that feeling, it's like, oh, like, I'll look at the other coach and just go, like, you better not let me shoot no one. Because once I feel the shot go in, like, it's like, oh, I feel like everything else, like, it's just a delusionalness. I always tell the boys, you got to be a bit delusional when you're on the court. You got to think everything's going in, you know, put it up. And I always say to the boys, and they think I'm silly for this, but if it goes up in the air, it has a chance. That's what I always say to the boys, and they think I'm silly for that, but that's really my mentality. If I get it up, like, it might go in, like, I believe in my shot. So yeah.
Now, in the NBL1 season for the Bankstown Bruins, how many days do you guys train? Is it twice a week, 3 times a week? How does
Yeah,
it go?
it's twice a week as a team. Both days we do film sessions before. Usually Tuesdays we do film with us, and then Thursday we do scout and the other team we're playing against. But yeah, and then the boys were like some of the boys were organised to work out together and everything. So yeah, um, it's twice a week as a team, and then like I said, individually, like the boys will just organise stuff to like, oh, we'll go shoot there and this and that.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful. Now, to round off the show, we always kind of do this. Your NBA Dream Team 5, with yourself included, who would it be?
Oof. Dream team. Like I'm just gonna go like my favorites. I don't care. Like I'm just gonna put like me at the 1, Kobe at the 2, MJ at the 3, Giannis at the 4, and then I'm going to go Big Shaq at the 5. That's my favorite. That's my favorite 4 I'd love to play with.
Nice, nice,
Yeah.
nice. Beautiful. Nah, hey, Shareef, I just want to thank you for your show. And I really greatly do appreciate you kind of giving me the time and kind of the love too, because as I said, you were my introduction to kind of like the NBL1 East, seeing you play and kind of realizing that there is kind of levels to it, if that makes sense.
Mm.
Because, man, I used to rock up to Collingwood as a stress release. And at the same time, when you play street ball, it doesn't matter who you're versing, you go, you know what, I'll give it a crack. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
but then there was those times where you said, you know what, when that first 3 hits and you kind of sink it. Man, I remember one time, I think I saw a game that you were playing. I think you guys were down like 9-4 or something, and then bang, you just popped like 4-5 threes in a row, and it was game, and you're in your slides too. And I was like, bro, who is this dude, man? So, nah, I do appreciate you so much.
Nah, man, it's love, bro. I love what you're doing with this, man. You're putting the boys in the scene, and like I said, like for the area, it's mad what you're doing. So, man, thank you for doing it. And, hopefully, this goes out to the boys in the area, and like some kids sees it, and like they think they can do it too, which is pretty cool.
Nah, definitely, and inshallah, man, things go well with you for this year and with the Bankstown Bruins, and also in the future with your pro career, whether it's in Lebanon, in New Zealand, wherever it is. Inshallah,
Yeah,
everything goes well.
inshallah, bro. Thank you, my man.